Hello, friends. I do believe we are live. Hello, hello. I know this doesn't look a whole lot different, but it's different and it's not done yet. And it's going to change some more. But I needed to come in and do a live for you guys because I missed you guys. So, my lights are not all on. Oh, and they're not. Alright, we're going to deal with the light we got. So, let me just start off with a couple of quick things before we get into our project. It's June 1st, and this year is flying by. But the first of the month means there is a new stamp of the month. It can be purchased, it can be obtained a couple different ways. You can get it free with a $50 order if you are part of the VIP program. You can okay, sorry, just scared myself thinking I'd missed a change, but I did not. Alright, if you're a VIP, spend $50, you can get it free. If you are not a VIP, you can spend $50 and you can get it for $5. So this one is super fun. One of the cards today I designed to actually work with this for one of these two stamps, but I don't have mine yet. And so we're going to make it with another stamp so I can show you that it's possible. But just know that these would have fit even more perfectly on there. So, June stamp of the month. Fabulous. Alright, next there is this special happening. Gotta make sure you guys can see it all here. To sign up to become a maker. So you can do what I do. You don't have to do videos and such. But if you sign up to be a maker, then you can get stuff early. Plus you get a discount. Plus you get to spend time with friends and all that sort of good thing. All sorts of things. So currently, right now, when you sign up for $25, it is $25. And with that $25, you automatically get $25 in CT Mage cash, which is what you can use to spend ordering stuff in the books. So, it's essentially you sign up for free. Like, that's pretty cool. Yeah, it's all sorts of cool. So, if you're interested, I would love to have you on my team. And, yeah, I would be happy to answer any questions about that. New month means a new special, and this month, Melon Mania. So as you may know, melon is our color of the year. And so I do have a couple of different melon dots here. So this is currently available in the big book. This was a part of the Fabulous special, and that paper I do believe is actually still available. So, please keep in mind that this printed slightly darker than what it actually is. Anyway, there is lots of stuff for this month only. There is a whole big product bundle, which is everything on this page, actually. So it is the paper pack, it is the sticker sheet, which is up here, the coordinating cardstock, which is this page here. So these are some silver foil details on the cardstock. And the Melon Mania stamp set, which is this. So you can see it has all sorts of fun little arrows and doodles and such. Like, this is super fun. I like it. So you can get all of those items in a bundle for $37.95. You can of course get them all individually. Paper packet with the sticker sheet is $10.95. Without is $7.95. The stamp set is $19.95. The sticker sheet cannot be purchased separately. Then you have the coordinating cardstock, the plain cardstock, which you've been able to get for the year. This is kind of a blowout bash type of thing because our book is ending soon, and so this has been the color of the year, and we wanted to throw it a big party on its way out. We have some melon glitter paper as well. So these are the things that you can essentially get right now. So you have the ink, the refill, the shimmer brush. You have the pearls, which is different than the dots that I showed you. You have some flowers, sequins, glitter, tape, and ribbon. All right, so these have all been available throughout the year. Okay. And I don't know why I was thinking there was a little bit more, but that's our Melon Mania. And that is all of our specials for right now. Ooh, that was kind of loud. I do have a few classes coming up, so watch for those. I can't wait to get them out to you. So let's get started with our cards. And we're going to go with this one first. Hello, sweet friend. Knocking things over, I apologize. Alright, so this one is actually fairly simple, easy to do, and we have our little tidbit on the inside as well. So let's get started with this. I did forget to check and see if this bracket die cut is still available or not. So I'm hoping that it is for you guys. And I have things stacked in here kind of wonky, so let me pull everything out. Okay, we have 3 stamp sets that we are going to use. We have Sending Smiles, which we're using for Hello Sweet Friend, which I have in the Misty here. Background Elements for our Distressing. And then, oh, I did not double check to make sure this is available, but I do believe it is. Mini Garden Gnomes, and we're using the Mushroom. Now, if you want it, we're not going to today, but if you wanted, the Mushroom actually has a die set, so you could stamp another one and pop it up here on the sentiment there. All right. Move that so I don't have to do anything to it. We're just going to put this in here at the edges. We're going to use Intense Black ink. Normally I would use Archival, but mine is needing to be replaced, I think. So just going to stamp this super simple, super easy. All Awesome. Take this out. Now, I did actually cut this off, and I did not think in advance about this. So I'm going to grab some washi. And tape this back on while we do our next couple steps. Okay, so our piece uncut is 3 3/4 by 5.5, and we're just going to grab some scratch paper and our intense black ink, and we're just going to random stamp our mushroom. And you don't have to be perfect with it. It's random for a reason. You do want to make sure that you go off the edges here and there. Not necessarily everywhere, but on each of the edges you want to make sure to go off the edge of it. Okay, and that should be good. So we're going to let that dry for just a few moments, and we are going to, actually while that's doing that, we're going to stamp it a little bit more. So I have shortbread ink that we are going to do 2nd generation stamping with. And so that means we're going to stamp off one time. And we're just going to add some background dimension to our background piece. Now, I could have done this before, but I wanted to make sure that there weren't any of these spots in the white dots of the mushroom tops. Matters a little bit less on the stems than it does on the tops. Okay, voila. Gives just a little bit of interest there. Alright, so on our card base, let's go ahead and glue our pieces. I just have 2 strips of craft cardstock that are just leftover scraps, and I am just going to attach them to the front of my card. And then we'll cut them off once we get them all glued down. Just like this. Fabulous. And those are scrap. We can just trash them. Let's bring this back in. I am going to keep my sheet because we are going to do some coloring. Now for this one, I did this middle red of the dark red blend, and then I used the light end of gold brown blend for the colors that I have here. I did not do any blending. I just colored. Just simple coloring. And I wish that I had gotten a chance to have one of these fronts colored for you already, but the day did not allow that. The good news is it really doesn't take very long to color these, especially since I'm not adding any shading at all. Not any of it. Or at least if there is any that appears, it's not intentional. So this would be one that you could just kind of random stamp an entire 12 by 12 and have some fun pieces ready to go. Sorry, coloring off camera here. That's even more boring than watching me color. How is the weather where you all are? I've been told that it's supposed to be super warm next week, which I'm not looking forward to, actually. Here's a little funny story for you while I'm coloring. So, my boys use my car, right? They both have their license, and they both drive, and so they're pretty good about putting gas in it and stuff. So, this is not a story about complaints, but I normally keep a bottle of ibuprofen and Excedrin in my car. And I went to take some earlier today. And I had one single ibuprofen and no Excedrin. And I obviously was not home. And so I sent a message to my boys to remind me to put car meds into the car. And my oldest son sent a reply asking if I was referring to gas or oil. And it took me a second to realize, and I didn't get a chance to talk to him afterwards, on whether he was trying to be funny or not. So he was thinking meds for the car, and I was thinking of meds in the car. It made me giggle. Okay. Now do be careful with your lighter color alcohol markers. Even with the intense black ink, with any ink actually, I have found that there are times that if you go over your stamped image a bit too much, it will actually pull that color. So just be aware. So this little edge piece that we put back on with washi, that's actually going to go on the inside of the card. And so sometimes if you are random stamping the front of your card, or even not so random stamping, but just creating a card front, the easiest way to make everything cohesive to the inside is if you include a little bit extra and trim it off. All right. The hard part of this card is done. The majority of this card actually is done. So we're just going to peel off our washi. And let's attach our strip to the inside. Now we already know that this is too long, right? Our inside piece is 4 by 5 1/4. And so we'll have a little bit to trim off. This goes on the inside. And this one we're just going to center. Now, if you have a card that does this, which they will sometimes, you can either grab your scissors or you can grab a trimmer. And just trim it off. If you're going to use this type of trimmer, just make sure you have your fold at the beginning of your cut and not the end of your cut. Voila! I have a nice clean top. Okay. Forgot to grab out my foam tape and my scissors. I'm just using some thin foam tape here. Press it down. I think some dots would be fun on these cards. And then where you put your sentiment will kind of change depending on how all your stuff is. I am looking for my red dots and I don't see them. Alright, well, there's no dots today. So that is card number 1. Super cute on the inside. Let's move on to card number 2. Alright, this one has lots of little pieces, but it will actually go together really quickly. So we are using Floral Sentiments and For All Occasions Great Sentiment Set. And the all-purpose tags. And we're going to use the long skinny one. There we go. This one. Okay. Which I do have pre-cut for you. So, this is our fun card today. And a little bit of bling on the inside. So, it is surprisingly simple to make. So we have our card base. We have 2 pieces, 4 by 5 1/4. Some scratch paper, or not scratch, but extra paper. Okay. And then I have them all blocked up, and we're using a few inks, just a few inks. We are going to use, here, let me, Ballerina, Espresso, Mulberry, Seabrook, Rosemary, Evergreen, and Periwinkle. So, do you have to use all these colors? No, you could do second generation stamping for some of these and get kind of similar colors. So, let's go ahead and get started. So on our scrap, we need our periwinkle and our mulberry and 2 flowers. So we're going to stamp one of our mulberry, and then we're actually going to bring in one of our 4 by 5 1/4 pieces and put one of these in the corner as well. And then we are done with that stamp. Alright, bring this back. And periwinkle. We're going to use our smaller flower. And we're going to stamp 2 of those. And then our espresso. And we have 2 flower centers and our sentiment that we're going to use for espresso. So just a tiny little dot in the center and an oval for our larger flower. I just wanted to point out that our colors do change a little bit once they've dried. It does look a little bit darker when it's wet, right? Like that's the whole, everything in the whole wide world does that. Well, I'm sure there's a few things that don't, because obviously there are exceptions to the rule. Alright, and we are done with our espresso. So, let's see here. So, let's bring in our, well, we're going to use the front piece, but before we do that, we need to do some magic of television, and we're going to swap from these flowers to these ones that I've already cut, stamped and cut out. So we are going to put some foam tape on the back side of our sentiment. I'm just cutting off a strip from my thin foam tape. We're only using thin foam tape today. Alright, we'll keep this piece. We'll use that here in just a moment. Alright, so what we're going to do first, we're going to peel these off, but we're going to keep them right here because we're going to use them again. And then we're just going to pick up our flowers. And just kind of do them however makes you happy. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and cover these strips back up, because we're going to be putting this back onto our card front and taking it away, putting it and taking it away. So let's go ahead and add the rest of our foam tape. My scissors need to be cleaned up some. Oh, I grabbed a whole bunch. Definitely more than I needed. It's okay. It won't go to waste, right? Alright, now we're going to bring this back in so we can do some stamping. The reason we wanted to create our cluster first was so that we know where we need to do our stamping. So this particular set has left and right versions of leaves, and so you want to keep that in mind when you're stamping. It doesn't matter which one you use, not necessarily, but swapping between the two gives variety, and variety is good. I'll put my stamps right where I need to be. So I'm going to ink up and kind of hover and then move my little flower block. Can you eyeball this? Sure. Is it going to be harder? You betcha. Alright, and then let's do one more right about there. Now I'm bringing in the other direction. So that we can have some of that variety. Alright, so this is what we've got so far. And we are done with our evergreen. Next up, rosemary. Sorry. And these are our larger leaf stamps. And sorry, I have a little gnat that's bugging me today. Yeah, but seriously. See, and we're just slowly building. Actually, we'll see if we need more of that one. For now, we're good. All right, Seabrook is our last green. And this one is just to kind of lighten it up a little bit. Those greens are great greens. They were just a little bit too heavy for the flowers, I think. Now, there is also probably an opposing for this guy, but I decided that I had enough different stamps out and odd blocks. So awesome. I like that. Alright, last but not least, the stamping is Ballerina. And this is a Three Little Buds stamp that is matched in the set. And I just wanted to give a little bit of more color. Alright, and that'll go just like that. Voila, now all we have to do is add glue. Alright, this piece goes on the inside. If you wanted to, you could do one of the periwinkle flowers in here as well. I thought keeping it simple with just one is nice and neat and gives lots of writing space still. Alright, just centering that on there. And now peel off all the backings. Oh, I forgot. We have to add a little bit more. My bad. I forgot to put another layer on the layers that are already there. It's kind of important. Turns out I didn't overcut at all. But now I have, just because, you know, that's how that works. Alright, as always, giving a little press helps it actually release. It's kind of like those pop open drawers that you can tug and tug and tug and it won't open, but if you push it in, it like unlatches, just like that. I'm actually going to put this at a slight angle. Voila. And I do believe some ballerina dots will be in order. So in each package you get 2 sheets of these dots, and it's 3 different colors. So we have raspberry, flamingo, and ballerina, I believe. I don't have all of my tools in front of me. So we are going to use the scissors, maybe. Alright. These are very flat edged. Which is nice. Most of the time. But it means sometimes it becomes difficult. And that one's there. Voila. Super pretty. Okay. Now our last card, actually, let me do a smidge of cleanup. Our last card is a 2-for-1, and I think you'll like this. And yes, we are actually using a lot of colors today. So, this next card uses all of these colors. So, Archival Black, Flamingo, Raspberry, Candy Apple, Melon, Lemonade, Sundance, Green Apple, Capri, and Lagoon. So, they're so pretty together, don't you think? Okay, let's get started. Would you like to see the card that we're going to make? Well, the 2 cards. It's the same card, only slightly different. So here are our cards. So, Super Fun Rainbow. This one is a softer, kind of more muted pastel. But all it is a second generation of these stamps. So, it's super easy. The only downside is I didn't actually do the inside. I forgot. And so we're going to do that together too. All right, so we're going to flip these over and work from the bottom up. We have, now what are we going to use today? Good question. Let me tell you. We are using the Fabulous Flamingo, still available, for the sentiment, You Are Fabulous. You can use any sentiment you want. Okay. We are using the Merriest Season for our greenery. And this is the card that I was talking about at the beginning, that the June stamp of the month would be fabulous for this. Okay. This is still available, not with the thin cuts, just the stamp set itself. And then Perfectly Imperfect Patterns for our little watercolor swoosh here. Okay. So we have 4 pieces of 4 by 5 1/4 White Daisy. We have 2 card pieces. So 2 of these are for inside and 2 are for the outside. And we're just going to set them just like this. And our stamp, and then I do have the sentiment as such in the Mini Misty. This one goes by so fast, you guys. Like, we haven't even been, it hasn't even been an hour yet. So, alright, so Lagoon. So, ink it up. One side. Other side. Voila. Then we're going to take our chamois and clean that between every stamp. I could also do the inside at the same time. Actually, let's go ahead and do that. Maybe. We'll try it first and then see how. No, we're going to do that separate. Going to do it separate. Too complicated otherwise. Alright, Capri. Now I am just going to make sure that I flip my stamp around to the other side. Twist, twist, tap, tap. You can line these up with space or without space, either way. Alright. Wash that. Tap it dry. Green apple. Make sure our stamp is flipped. Twist, twist, tap, tap. Excuse my head. Voila. Right, this goes by so fast. And you have to get rid of the ink, so you might as well make another card with it. Right? Sundance. And you can make these more askew or off kilter if you would like. I'm just kind of going for just straight stacked. You do want to make sure your stamp is dry between. Lemonade. Lemonade is the favorite color of one of my friend's husbands. Swipe, swipe, swipe. Melon. It goes so quick. I'm telling you. And if you manage to overlap some of them, that's okay too. Like, honestly, nobody's probably even gonna notice. Candy apple. The other fun thing is you don't have to do this many colors. You can do fewer. But I think it's just bright and happy, and it just makes me happy. All of these cards are inspired by cards that I found on Pinterest. Just so you know. Raspberry. They all have my little twist on them in some fashion. So you can see these ones are actually taking up more space than the original ones, which 100% fine. If you really wanted to assembly line a boatload of these, you put this in your Misty, Flamingos next, and have a whole bunch of your pieces cut and ink up, stamp one, do the second generation of the next one, and just make however many in that first color, and away you go. It would be that simple. Okay, so the colorful part of our fronts is done. So let's go ahead and let these dry. We'll bring in our scratch paper again. And then this one we're going to have to move things as we do it, just because I was going to try and do 4 insides at the same time, but I'm not going to. So now, here's the thing. If you want these to kind of line up exactly, then that's going to be a little bit more difficult. But let's make that happen. We can do this. Have washi will stamp. Alright, so what I'm doing is taping these on so they're offset about an inch, give or take. Alright. Let's flip over our stack again, just to make it easier. And let's see how well this idea works. Alright, so my plan is to kind of line up and line up. Not too shabby. That actually worked pretty well. Capri again. And I'm just putting these on here in the same direction that they were. Easy peasy. This is the great way to go, guys. You can do this. And I know this card is actually taking longer than the rest of them. I think even than the coloring one. But this is, I don't know. It's so stinking easy. And if you just decided you're like, nope, I don't want to do the inside, you don't have to. Or you could just do a couple colors. Or you could just do some more of the flower. That would work as well. really like how these are going. I know, I keep saying that, but it's true. Melon. Candy apple. Just think of the wow factor this will have. You do want to be careful to make sure that the edge that you stamp doesn't transfer over. Here, I'll show you. Raspberry. Okay, so raspberry. So if I stamp here, you can see there's that hard line in the middle of the stamp. You want to make sure that that doesn't transfer over to the other one, because it creates a whole different look than what you're going for. And I realize that's a little bit low, and I apologize. Alright, last color, flamingo. Okay, that, I think that worked fabulously. Look how pretty the inside of that card is. I mean, that would be pretty for the front of the card too. Or even do it this way, maybe alternate them a little bit more and it'd be more like paint dripping. Super fun. Alright, that one goes there, that one goes there. Bring this guy in, flip him upside down. If I don't move the stack, I'm gonna like crash it over. Alright, archival black. We'll see how well this one does this afternoon. Alright, and this is why we are using the Misty. Sorry, that probably is shaking the camera. That S just wants to be problematic. Beautiful. Nope, this one. I was thinking that on the pastel one, a different color for the sentiment might be good. But I couldn't figure out what color that might be. So if you have ideas, I would love to hear them. Goodness. Most stamp sets are not this stubborn. But for whatever reason, today beautiful. And then we just need to literally put it all together. So let's do the insides first, so that black has a little bit of time to soak in. And if you didn't want to do a whole second card with this, what you could do is you could do the first card and then stamp the edge with that second generation, and so it's a little bit quieter on the inside. This one I'm going to set down on top of my card base, so that if it is still wet, it will stay on the card base as opposed to on the table and then smearing onto the card. See, it did, but that's okay. That's why we did that. Ideally, you just wait for a little bit longer, but we are making some cards here. Where did we have? And voila. Those are all of our cards for today. So we have our 2 for 1, right? These just make my heart happy. And if you wanted, and if you had the supplies, you could literally go through and choose Candy Apple Red, Lagoon and Capri, Green Apple. We didn't actually use any of those ones. Flamingo and Ballerina, Sundance and Lemonade. Didn't actually use any of those ones either. So you could go through and you could put one or two on each of the colors, but I'm not going to do that. All right. Then we had card number 2 and card number 1. So I hope you guys liked all of these cards. I cannot wait to see you guys do something with them, and I hope you show me what you do make. So let me know in the comments which is your favorite card out of these and what you think you would have changed on these cards. So until next week, I hope you guys have a super crafty week, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.